Hi everyone, it's me, Sailor Moon, and it's me, Sailor Mars. Hi, it's me, Sailor Moon, and it's me, Sailor Jupiter here. My hair's always been tied up, but I cut some of it off. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about, this one thing that does happen. Well, it's not anything bad or anything, but so there's always going to be this um so yeah so there's always going to be these say I'll clear my throat again. So there's always going to be these Sailor Moon followers out there that um only like, they hate the English one. They hate the Dic one, they hate the Cloverway one. They make big deals out of, things that should be making big deals out of. They talk about how they hate clean shit. They hate anything that's cleaned, anything that's shifted, you know. But the things that they bitch about don't really take away from the show. Alright? Like they bitch about the show playing. The show players who did the speaking work for all of us through the Deke and the Pioneer. Some folks say it's Cloverway, but it's actually Pioneer. Um, you know, and then they also, they bitch about that when there really is no any grounds for it. And then they also bitch about the names being shifted. They behave as if everyone they behave if it's everyone in the world should know those borrowed names and that it was wrong to shift them. But if you think that those were the only two things that they bitched about when it came to Dic and Cloverway and how they handled Sailor Moon, you'd be wrong. They also bitched about stead names being shifted. They also bitched about strike names being shifted. They bitched about how one following became two followings. And they also bitched about, Sailor Says. It's like everything, they didn't like anything about it. And they behave as if it was the worst show they have ever seen. Which is not true. That's their belief, that's their thought. But I'm here to tell you that my show being handled in that way, my show was not the first show to be handled that way. Speed Racer or Speed Runner, whatever you want to call him, everyone loved him. Well, he was cleaned up too before he got to the new world, before he got to the English speaking world, I should say. They act like my show being cleaned, our names being shifted, they act like it was the first time it ever happened. Yeah, you're right, Sailor Moon. You want to go on? So what's your take on it, Sailor Jupiter? Oh, my take on it is that, yeah, you're right. I think they just nitpicked, or whatever you want to call it. Like, there were things that weren't, the show wasn't flawless, true. But at the end of the day, I think they just let those flaws get to them. They want to nitpick about the show playing or the speaking. They wanted to bitch about the names being shifted and, bitch about stead names being shifted and strike names being shifted, and bitch about how at the end of the first following, what was one saga became two sagas. It's just like, I don't understand it. Every time I would watch the Deke and the Cloverway, or should I say Pioneer, I don't know, Path Seeker, Um, I'm not sure, but all those things that you folks bitch about and say that you can't understand why they were handled that way, you know, and another thing you folks like to do is that you like to say, oh, well, this isn't what Nako Takaguchi wanted. This isn't what Toei wanted. Well, to my understanding, when Dic and later on Pioneer got the deals to work with Sailor Moon, there came some freedoms with that deal. And that meant that they had some freedom to shift some stuff around. And that meant names. That also meant stead names and strike names. That meant anything they had to do to clean up, to make Sailor Moon fall into the oversight that it needed to fall into, or you wouldn't see Sailor Moon. All right. Back in the day, you wouldn't have seen it. It would have not been let to do so, since it wouldn't have been, not been let in back in the day. Well, you're right about that. And another thing they also like to talk about, if you, yeah, you're right, that's Sailor Jupiter. At the end of the day, I mean, what they bitch about are things that I don't understand why they do it. I made many films talking about this, and still to this day, I still can't understand where that hate came from. I don't. The only thing I can come up with is that it's unlike a thought. That everyone grew up watching that Sailor Moon, and they either, liked it or they didn't like it. But it's not like they knew it's not like they knew, it's not like, oh, you know. What I mean to say is, it's not like they knew what Sailor Moon was or where it came from or anything like that until they saw the Dic work and the Pioneer work, would say. And their hatred or unlike of it came out of when they went on the interweb one day and started seeing the Toei offshoot, which all the Sailor Moons offshoot from. Then they made up their mind that they either did not like it or they hate it. But there's no way they could have watched it back in the day and just say, I hate it. There's no way. And if they did hate it, then that was sad. But at the end of the day, bitching about show playing, bitching about, stead names being shifted, and bitching about, the Japanese names or the Dawnlandish names borrowed names being shifted out for either Hellene or Latin borrowed names. Alright? Bitching about that. About the show playing, which I don't understand. And bitching about Sailor Says. Back in the day, there was an oversight, which meant that there were certain spans on the Farseer that you had to put some kind of learning show on. And if you didn't, you had to fill that in, which was Sailor Says. Alright? And some folks out there might bitch about it, but keep in mind, the things that I talked about on Sailor Says were something that anyone could learn from. Alright? Oh, and before we go, Sailor Moon, yes, before we go, then you have Sailor Moon followers out there saying you're not a true Sailor Moon follower if you watch it in English, which I don't understand that. I mean, these are the same folks now that they hate the Dic, they hate Pioneer, they love Viz, because they believe they got Sailor Moon the way it should have been. Yeah, well, if the world was flawless, which it's not, it would have been that way, but it is what it is. And saying you're not a true Sailor Moon follower since you watch in English. That's just sad. Alright, that's it for us. If you like this film, watch the film made over here. Or follow us here at Sailor Moon for Life. I'm Sailor Moon. I'm Sailor Jupiter. See you later.